We have seen a really precipitous explosion of the price of eggs over the last few weeks here. What do you attribute that to? Is this some type of bubble that will break sometime soon, or will this be somewhat everlasting and persistent? I was reading some reports today that the chain, the breakfast chain Waffle House, they're adding a surcharge of 50 cents each egg. So what is going on here?
This is interesting because I've spent a lot of time this week talking about eggs with investors and with other traders and other PMs. Eggs as a basket, as part of a basket of staple goods, have risen about 75% since 2021, and that they're the highest in that basket. And then you have butter and cookies and frozen juices. They're all 30% to 50% higher. But eggs have always had a little bit more push.
The economy and to a troubling new forecast when it comes to the price of eggs, now predicted to rise more than 40% this year, double the prediction just a month ago. And tonight, what more restaurants now say they're being forced to do.
The American breakfast staple has become more expensive. The United States is currently facing an egg shortage, making eggs harder to find and significantly pricier. Over the past year, egg prices have skyrocketed by more than 65%, with market shelves that were once stocked now often empty. Restaurants have been forced to raise their prices, and in response, people have begun stockpiling, stealing, smuggling, and even renting chickens to secure their supply of eggs. So, can the U.S. solve its egg crisis? Here's a closer look at the situation. Supermarket shelves are going bare, bakeries are struggling to keep up with demand, and consumers are growing increasingly concerned. Eggs have made headlines across the country as prices continue to soar. The cost of a dozen eggs has reached a record high of $4.95, nearly double the price from the previous January and a staggering $3 increase from just 3 years ago. These are national averages, but in many locations, a carton of eggs can cost upwards of $10, with reports of some markets selling them for as much as $20. This makes it increasingly difficult for lower-income individuals to afford them, pushing many to search for alternatives. Even those who can afford eggs may struggle to find them. Many American grocery stores are implementing limits on how many cartons a single customer can purchase. I've had to ask people to limit their purchase to 2 dozen eggs because some customers are buying all the stock and reselling them, says a store manager. This hoarding behavior has only worsened the supply issue, making eggs even harder to come by for the average consumer. With eggs becoming scarce, desperate measures are being taken. Some customers have turned to theft. Just this month, 100,000 eggs were stolen in Pennsylvania, amounting to a loss of around $40,000. This massive heist is just one example of how severe the situation has become. Smuggling has also become an issue, with at least 90 individuals caught attempting to traffic eggs across the US-Mexico border since January. For those looking for a legal way to obtain fresh eggs, there are new options emerging. The high prices have led to an unexpected trend: an increase in chicken ownership. Many Americans have begun purchasing chickens for their own egg supply. In the last few weeks, we've seen a dramatic surge in demand for poultry, with sales doubling or even tripling, says a poultry farm owner. However, not everyone is ready for the long-term commitment of raising chickens, leading to a rise in chicken rental services. Several businesses have started offering the option to rent hens, allowing people to have fresh eggs without the responsibility of permanent ownership. Our online inquiries have never been higher, says a representative of one such rental company. People want backyard hens, so they don't have to worry about store shortages. Meanwhile, restaurants and bakeries are struggling to cope with the shortage. Many eateries have introduced additional charges for egg-based dishes, while some bakeries are resorting to reducing portion sizes or looking for egg substitutes to maintain their production. Large food chains, however, are trying to make the best of the crisis. McDonald's, for instance, has planned a one-day promotional campaign featuring their Egg McMuffin in response to the soaring prices. So, what is causing this crisis? The main culprit is the bird flu outbreak that began in 2022. It has resulted in the loss of at least 166 million birds, leading to a drastic reduction in egg-laying hens. Fewer hens mean fewer eggs, a bigger shortage, and higher prices. Experts predict that relief may not come soon, as government officials are expecting an additional 20% increase in egg prices this year. In response, the U.S. government has unveiled a $1 billion plan to combat the crisis. This initiative includes biosecurity upgrades for farms, such as truck sanitization, improved hygiene protocols for workers, and enhanced disinfection methods. Additionally, investments are being made in vaccine development for poultry and increasing egg imports. To meet demand, the U.S. is now looking to import eggs on an unprecedented scale. A major source? Turkey. The country has agreed to supply America with 420 million eggs this year, a six-fold increase from last year's import of 70 million eggs. Washington hopes that these measures will alleviate the crisis and stabilize the market. With so much at stake, the U.S. cannot afford to ignore this problem. Whether through improved biosecurity, increased imports, or unconventional solutions like chicken rentals, the country must act quickly before the situation worsens. Because if this issue isn't addressed soon, America's egg crisis may be one that it simply cannot chicken out of.
They ranged from $6 to $8 for just even like a dozen of them. And that was, I even said to myself, I'm like, this is blasphemy, it's just robbery, you know, it's really expensive.
It's the first time in my life that I've ever had to be kind of embarrassed on what I'm selling eggs for, and it's not our fault. We're paying today $7.45 for a dozen eggs. We're selling for $7.59. We're making 14 cents. That doesn't pay the bills.
At this point in time, it's the same problem we've been having for the last 6 months, only now it's more critical.